So, reserve rights. Do you think this is an XRP? Let's find out. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. So if you are new, please do subscribe, hit that bell button, like, and obviously leave a comment and let me know what you think of this project. It's been a while. I've been looking at this for a while. I mentioned it about 2 months ago in my Learning Crypto group. If you want to jump in, there's a link up here somewhere. Mentioned it in the public chat, mentioned it in the private chat as well. I wasn't sure of it because of the DeFi kind of bubble nature that we had at the time. We found support in the key projects that I was looking at. The shit have just died. This is one of the good ones, in my opinion. We're going to go over it. Okay, there's going to be a 2-part series video. Tomorrow there'll be price analysis, when to invest, potential area. I will be looking to invest in the next day or two. So, I know someone went to me the other week, what, you actually recommend coins that you don't invest in? Well, obviously, this is a YouTube channel. If I'm going to cover everything in the world, I'm going to be the biggest bag holder in the world. But let's talk about this on the screen. This is vitally important into the context of what this does. Hyperinflation is an issue. Even now, even back in the war, you can see here 1923, some images, there's some ones in Germany. This is a one in Germany as well with the fight in the war. Very, very iconic image where people are stacking money, millions of, I think it was Deutsche Francs at the time. And it's kind of scary, very, very scary that this is actually happening now in the world, especially in South Africa, and it's not South Africa, South America and some parts of Africa. Certainly the problem that we've got is in the world of cryptocurrency, we have got this mechanism that stops that. And this is one of the tokens that could completely stop that, and it has a very good utility product backers, which is why I'm kind of covering it. It does have some bad points, which I will go over as well. But the ability to stop any hyperinflation is a big tick in anyone's book, in my opinion. But as I say, let's go over it in more detail. So it is reserve rights protocol. It's very, very interesting. It's gone up in value quite a lot over the last few months due to exchange listings, due to exposure, and the ability of what PayPal has just went and put out the other day regarding, I want in on this malarkey, but we'll come on to that PayPal element in a minute. The one thing I want to talk about is what I said at the start of this video, before I go on to anything else. Is it the next XRP? I believe it is. I believe that this could get just as much traction as what XRP has got in the past. And when you look at the market cap, even today at 137 million, I think there's a lot of room to grow here because renowned usage of money and economics is a big thing, especially when we look at COVID-19, when we look at printing out money. That always increases inflation. We don't want to have a situation where hyperinflation is going to be a problem. That being said, the volume's increasing, and the one reservation that I do have, and you've probably already noticed it, is the supply. But it's only a supply. At the end of the day, it all depends on when you buy. Ultimately, that will put people off. But let's go into it in a bit more detail. We've had some severe highs. We've also had a big, massive dump. We're now on the way back up. So I'm looking to buy. This is done the little test where it's still at a very undervalued price, in my opinion. It hasn't been that rocket boom. People have obviously got in early. Probably people have got in at the top as well. But we're going to go over it in more detail. But it has been around not that long in reality when you think about it. You know, in terms of price live data, it's relatively new. It's relatively untested, but it has a use case. It has a product. It has a facility. That is important. You don't see that very often in crypto. So let's talk about it in more detail. So what is it? It is basically a protocol designed to stop the world going to shit. Simple as that. If I'm ever going to describe it in any sort of way, it's that. There's 2 tokens, and I want to talk about why they both are a big element of this and why you should be looking at it in terms of longevity as a potential opportunity for, you know, the world, economy, all kinds of stuff. So It is a flexible pool of stablecoins designed to reduce the risk through diversification and decentralized governance. It is also a governance token, by the way. To everyday users, Reserve is just an app for buying, holding and spending digital dollars. That's the important part. You probably already missed it. For people in certain countries, look at the 3 countries that it's available in as it stands. Venezuela, Argentina, Colombia. They are both suffering, or all 3 of them essentially, suffering from hyperinflation. That's, cool in one way that we have a use case. But the biggest shittest thing about this is I feel that there's going to be more and more countries that are going to be exposed to this, which is good for some ways, but even better if you're in those countries because you've got something. The problem we've got in the world is not many people know about cryptocurrency. Not many people know they can turn to cryptocurrency if they want to buy a product. The problem that they've got is they've got to save up loads of money to buy something because inflation has killed the market in that country. This aims to solve that. And I say it's a good thing. It's a terrible thing, I know, but it's a good thing that there's something here that could change it. And it's being used today, which blows my mind when you think about it. Zooming down a little bit, obviously there's videos and stuff, but let's talk about this here first. Protecting your money. Reserve enables people and businesses in countries with high inflation to protect their money instead of them basically moving out of the country, essentially. You can send money across borders, similar to XRP. It's cost effective to send money across the borders. This enables people to send money home to their families and all kinds of stuff like that. Easy to accept payments, big E. Reserve allows businesses to accept payments in stable digital currency, enable them to pay for international suppliers while keeping their money out of the inflation-prone local currency. Imagine if you're running a business and you've got to deal with all that. You're struggling. This is a currency. This should be used, and this probably will be used a lot, in my opinion. When you then move down and you look overall, these are the 2 tokens I'm talking about. RSV. This is a stable currency. It is economically and legally robust at any scale, decentralized, 100% asset-backed, by the way, and funded by top Silicon Valley investors. That is the stable currency. It will not fucking move. It shouldn't move or you get punched. You won't. We'll talk about the protocol in a minute. But with that being said, the reserve rights RSR is the fluctuating protocol token that plays the role in the stabilization or the stability or whatever of that RSV token. Okay, this makes it simple. How does it work? We'll go over that in a second. But in terms of the team first, I want to go over this because I think this is absolutely mental. This is the one thing that when I looked at it a few days back, I did a proper deep dive. I've always had an eye on it, but I had a deep dive in terms of the team, and it's the fact that the investors and the protocols of who's backing it, the asset side of it, is just growing and growing like a blooming balloon. It's just getting bigger. And I want to go over these investors because this is absolutely savage. It really is. When you think about this, the president of the Y Combination, if you Google this, by the way, just Google that, you'll probably go, fuck, because these are huge. This is basically the backed company that has published some big businesses that you've taken for granted here already. Airbnb, Stripe, Reddit, Pinterest is another one, Change.org. They push and pull companies into the limelight. That's huge. The fact that he's backing this is crazy. You've got Coinbase Ventures. Love it or hate it, Coinbase, it's one of those things, it's like, it's good, but it's shit, if that makes sense. It's like, it's really good in some ways, it's really bad in others, the way it does certain things. But to be backed and, essentially funded by Coinbase is pretty massive as well, essentially in that way. Then you've got the one in the middle, Peter, co-founder of, you've heard of that company before, I don't know if you've heard of it, PayPal. You got to think, where is this going? It's crazy. And then you got to look at, obviously, Crypto Lotus is a hedge fund management in San Francisco. This is all Silicon Bay. This is like the craziest place in the world, essentially, all backing this one thing. And it is to basically solve other countries' problems with a protocol. And we'll come on to the protocol in a minute. And you just keep on going and you look at all these people. Jack Selby was a member of the founding team of PayPal. Oh, hello. All these kind of people. Again, VP of Marketing, PayPal. you got to think, fucking hell, where are we going here? And what's happened over the last few days? Well, PayPal. You know, what's going to happen? Well, is this going to be used in PayPal for people to send and receive money that is not affected by, what was that word before that I mentioned? Inflation? Hyperinflation? I'm only putting ideas out there, but that is a big, big thing, in my opinion. Moving down again, there's more and more people. As you can see here, it's just getting bigger. This is like going into some absolute crazy kind of, you know, in my opinion, people. You got, see, Betfair, you know, was formerly a director of Visa. So you can see why I'm kind of explaining a few little things here in a very, very simple way. Now, the one thing that I want to mention as well here, obviously watch the videos and watch what's happening next, but I want to talk about the protocol because I think this is where things are going to get interesting. I'm going to just mention the fact that there's so many different things with this. As I've already said, there's two tokens, right? You've obviously got the RSV, the stable currency, yep. RSR, which is a currency used to facilitate the stability of the token. Then you've got collateral tokens, the US dollar backed sort of tokens in a way. You've got all that kind of stuff. You can see here, other assets are held by the reserve smart contract in order to back the value of the reserve token. Physical assets, I said that at the start of the video. But you can also earn from this as well by the US dollars in the world of cryptocurrency. You've heard of them, you know. We'll go over that in a bit more detail in a second, where you can basically put your money in and you can get that collateral back, providing liquidity essentially. So with that in said, it's pretty cool. So I don't want to go too much in detail on this because there's a graphic to show you and explain it in more detail. I know people don't like words on a screen. With this in said, this is how it works. So you've got step number one, the stability of the peg, that $1, it needs to stay there. So when the price of RSV goes above $1, the protocol sells new minted tokens, or newly minted if I can read properly, from the vault or through the tokenized assets or RSV, driving the price of the RSV on exchanges below and, you know, back down to that $1 level. Then you got the second part of it. When it goes obviously below $1, it's going to buy up those assets to then bring it up. Number three, you've got the maintaining of the vault ratio, which is absolutely like, because you got to remember that is backed by physical token assets and excess reserves, reserve assets. There we go. Dear me. But when you consider this is where the holders are going to get that incentivization. The more and more people that are using the RSV token, the more use case it's going to have, which will mean the more that utility will be used to maintain the ratio, as you can see here on the right hand side of the screen. When, you know, the appreciation of transaction fees, bear with me, transaction fees are used, it's going to increase the purchasing price of what RSV is. So every time it's got to stabilize and move things around, there's a transaction fee. We all know that, it's basic. That being said, what happens then? Volume. What happens then? Value appreciation of the asset. Yeah, following me? Cool. So with that being said, that will then happen multiple times every single day. Trading volume as well on exchanges, people buying the token, holding it. And then obviously providing liquidity, which I'll come on to in more detail in a second. This is like so undervalued in my opinion, it's like scary. You got to think it's only available in 3 countries right now. How many countries in the world are suffering right now? There's a lot. How many people in the world can access the internet? Quite a lot. But the thing that is more important with this is like a life-saving opportunity for most people. It really is that deep, and that's how far it goes. The one thing that I have been talking about a little bit, and I do want to go over this a little bit now, is this. You can mint and redeem your RSV. Now, as I said before, you can use this with MetaMask. You've got your RSV and stuff like that. As I mentioned before, you've got all these different sort of currencies. You've got Pacos, True USD, and obviously the Coinbase currency. So there's all kinds of different stuff in terms of use case of what you can use. But the one thing that is very, very important here, this is just the start. And I highly recommend that you do look into this, and why I feel that this is a solid use case for cryptocurrencies in general, to the ability to stop that problem in life, which is hyperinflation. And also, you've got to remember what happens in real life is what we're seeing right now. Interest rates in banks, they're going to stupid levels, low levels. Not, I want to get money for holding my money in my bank. It's the opposite. You're paying the banks. If you put savings in the bank, you are not making money at all. It's actually disappearing right in front of your eyes. This actually stops that. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview. There's a lot to take in, okay, in terms of how it kind of works and why it works. That protocol, you probably will have to read out the text as well, because my explanation is not the greatest in the world. I understand it in my head. Me explaining it, not the same thing. But ultimately, the videos are there. It's all kinds of use case it rolled into one. As I said here, these three things are massive in my opinion already. The ability to send it across the world, easy. The ability to use it as payment, easy. And also receive it, easy. But the ability to actually protect it is key. And them links with PayPal, Coinbase, other big Silicon Valley fund investments is key. Something's happening. And I think this could be one real opportunity for cryptocurrency to get in the limelight for a really good thing. So, see you tomorrow when we do some price analysis.